Jack Mallers just made another massive rant and claim about the future of Bitcoin, and if he's right, we're in for a wild ride. Today, we're breaking down the best parts of his latest Money Matters podcast, and I'll be adding my own 2 Satoshis along the way. Jack is never shy about sharing bold predictions, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. We'll dissect his most controversial takes, from Bitcoin's near-term volatility to how cheap money could drive BTC straight to $500,000. So stay tuned.
Are you tired of sifting through fitness advice from YouTube, Instagram gurus? Keto, paleo, heavy lifting, cardio. No wonder you're stuck. It's exhausting just trying to figure out where to start. You don't need more random advice. You need a personalized plan tailored specifically for your goals, and that's exactly what the FlapJax fitness program delivers. Here's how I will simplify your success. I'll give you a custom fitness plan tailored to your unique goals, nutrition guidance that cuts through all the noise and garbage, and you get a FlapJax meme token that while you're sweating, your wallet could be flipping to new heights. Plus, you have a 3-month result guarantee allowing you to take this leap risk-free. If you don't get results, I'll triple your training absolutely free. All the confusion ends here. DM me now to claim one of just 10 available spots. The FlapJax stack is waiting for you.
Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't trust, we verify, and operate with integrity and transparency. This is the latest video from Jack Mallers and his Money Matters podcast. He calls it Mailbag Mondays. And you guys know, like, now I think these are my top 3 between Jack, Michael Saylor, and Raoul Pal. I feel like you get a really good analysis of the market, especially from a BTC side. Now, of course, Raoul is more macro and will give you more insights on how to, quote unquote, unfuck your future and make the smart investments across the entire space. And Jack is just relatable, and Michael is all about the tech, the science, the fundamentals, like all that stuff. So, did I say Jack or Michael? Michael's all about tech and science and fundamentals, and Jack just breaks it down really, really well. So in this first clip, we're going to jump into his rant on the BTC and kind of where we're at from this recent dip.
Here's my rant on the Bitcoin dump. Listen, Listen, we got our strategic Bitcoin reserve. Okay, it's a Bitcoin only reserve. The crypto coin funds, they're not buying any altcoins. They're not thinking strategically about altcoins. In fact, the only strategic notion about the crypto stockpile is that they can be sold to buy more Bitcoin. The government is not going to be selling any Bitcoin. It's going to think about strategically buying Bitcoin. However, for those of you that think that Bitcoin is driven by announcements, you have been fooled, okay? This market is far too big and far too sophisticated to move on announcements like what we saw with the strategic Bitcoin reserve. This was no new information. This was no new purchasing of Bitcoins. This market, this is a global commodity market. If you think it's supposed to move on announcements like that, you have been fooled. Guys, Bitcoin is the only true global free market left in existence, okay? The price of Bitcoin tells the world in real time what the global community thinks about the current state of fiat liquidity. Super important. Bitcoin's price is not a reflection of what the White House thinks. Bitcoin's price is not a reflection of what Elon Musk thinks. Bitcoin's price is not a reflection of what Michael Saylor thinks. Bitcoin is the only global free market we have left, and it is the reflection and the expression of what the world thinks of fiat liquidity. Meaning this.
Gonna pause there because that is an important note of advice that he dropped there. So like recently, about this video was about a week ago, that we had the Bitcoin strategic reserve and the crypto stockpile, and then differentiating those two. So those are 2 executive orders. And as Jack mentioned, one is stating that Bitcoin will be a strategic reserve and they won't sell the existing Bitcoin. And then on top of that, he tasked the administration with finding budget neutral strategies to acquire more Bitcoin. So as he said, nothing changed fundamentally. It's the same thing he promised before. So his promises made, promises stated, promises kept kind of thing. But the market was expecting Bitcoin to rip off the news, and it did absolutely nothing. And this is something I was discussing in my Telegram. I think all of us that have been around for more than one cycle, we're looking at this as the way it's always been before, where the market was much smaller and less TradFi influence, global influence, mature so that small announcements, tweets by Elon or whatever can cause a rip in the market. But I think specifically with Bitcoin, we are past that now. When you have people like Michael Saylor putting in millions of dollars of capital, and then other countries putting in billions of dollars of capital and allocating resources towards it, it's just too mature for that until actually money is being exchanged. So I am on the same camp with Jack on this, that yeah, we have to kind of just wake up and realize that Bitcoin has stepped into another level of its maturity and how it will move forward. Speaking of moving forward, we're going to go into his next clip where he explains how this is tied to kind of global M2 and the Fed.
Bitcoin is not a hedge. Bitcoin is a solution. Okay. I often hear people, Bitcoin's not acting like the hedge it's supposed to be. It's not acting like the hedge that gold is. Bitcoin's not a hedge. Bitcoin is a solution, meaning Bitcoin is a put option on the existing system. Bitcoin is long volatility. Bitcoin is monetizing chaos. Bitcoin is the best expression of currency debasement. Okay. Meaning when fiat liquidity dries up, Bitcoin leads, and Bitcoin expresses that first, and Bitcoin goes down. When Bitcoin liquidity loosens up and money printers go burr, Bitcoin leads. Bitcoin's the best performing asset in human history. Bitcoin goes up the most.
I'm going to pause there because we're going to come to this chart, the M2 versus Bitcoin. And that's exactly what he's talking about. When money goes up, Bitcoin follows. Money comes down, Bitcoin's right there with it. So it's like the first asset to reflect that, because it is a globally distributed, decentralized, non-controlled asset that can reflect accordingly to these market conditions.
Okay, so why is all of this relevant? Bitcoin's not trading off announcements from the White House. It's not trading off announcements from Saylor. It's not trading off Elon Musk's interviews on Fox. What's it trading off? Okay, Donald Trump wants cheap money. Another way to say that, the politically correct way to say that, is Donald Trump wants lower interest rates. Okay, but we know, and we've been saying on this show over and over and over again, I tweeted it out a month ago, the Federal Reserve is openly stated they will not listen to Donald Trump. Okay, I actually pulled up, there's a Bloomberg op-ed by Bill Dudley, the former chairman of the Fed of New York. Okay, and he wrote a Bloomberg op-ed in 2019. It's right here, titled, "The Fed Should Not Enable Donald Trump." Okay, the Fed is openly saying they will not support his monetary policy, this administration's economic plan. Okay, so what does Trump and Scott Bessent do? They are letting markets collapse. They are drying the markets up of liquidity. They are letting Elon Musk run rampant inside Washington, D.C. and cut all spending, fire everybody. Guys, whether it's spent through the government or not, dollars that are issued into the world find their way into Whole Foods, find their way into NFL merchandise, find their way into the real estate markets where you live. If Elon Musk is cutting trillions and trillions of dollars of fraudulent spending and firing lots of jobs, that crashes the economy. The Treasury and the US government are pulling back liquidity and demanding from the Fed and from the long end, from the 10-year, cheaper money. Trump says, I want to reshore everything in America. That requires cheaper money. Another thing, you guys.
So reference he's talking about basically like, yeah, how the money flows through the entire economy. And then this again is the chart from B Geometrics. And Ralph Powell has a better one that shows the actual 10-week lag. So there's approximately 70 days where that Bitcoin responds to what global M2 has actually done. So we're going to zoom in here a little bit more. Let's go. Yeah. 3 to 4 months. So this top line is the BTC price. Actually, I can't go in that far because you won't be able to see the 10 weeks. We gotta go back out. That's what I wanted to show really. So the black line is the BTC price and the blue line is the M2 global money supply. So what you can see with this draw up here all the way to the global M2 range, the blue line, at 108, what is that, billion, I don't know, a lot. This is about 10 weeks ahead of Bitcoin. So this draw up that we see here on Bitcoin, the 105 Bitcoin price, is reflected in the peak of the 108 global M2 supply. So even though that was September 30th, we saw that, we'll call that October 1st. Then about 10 weeks later, you see December, we hit that same peak. So now from there, from September all the way down till November, we have kind of this same reflection in BTC. So you have this peak here, which is this one. Then you have a drawdown, which goes with here. Then you have a spike back up, which is that spike. Then another drawdown, that's here to here. Then another drawdown, and then it comes back up. And then this down to here is this, basically. So at this stage, we are now, global money supply in January 6th was at the bottom. You fast forward about 10 weeks, that's exactly where we are roughly now. And BTC has already started climbing back out of that bottom range at 77, 78. So they correspond accordingly. So in theory, we should start to see a reversal in the charts. Now, could there still be like another dip back down before we climb back out? Sure. Could we go back down to 77 again, 78? Yes, because there is still a lot of empty volume there. But global M2 has already started ticking back up. That's the main point, approximately 10 to 12 weeks ago. So that's what Jack is explaining. This is what Raoul Powell was talking about. You don't have to be a TA guru or analyst to be able to look at the chart direction and kind of just make your own assumptions off that. Let's go to the next piece about the bond refinancing.
Guys, just to put this in perspective, these guys need to reprice $10 trillion of bonds this year. They need to reprice $2 trillion in April alone. April is their biggest month. $2 trillion in April, $10 trillion this year.
So if you want to find that out yourself, you can come over to fiscaldata.treasury.gov and you can actually download the MSPD, the monthly statement of public debt. And I pulled that up here. I can't verify the 10 trillion that Jack said for this year, but you can see maturity date, issued, and the total out to the end of 2025 is $6.3 trillion in T-bills. That does come out this year. And I didn't bother to count April, but if you were to add this up, you got March and then April. I'm sure that that would be close to the 2 trillion that Jack's talking about. I don't know where the other 4 trillion is. That could be from other debt. But as he states later on, and as I've mentioned before as well, the current interest rate is about 4.5%. Any idiot knows that if you're going to be rolling over that much debt, you want to refinance it, roll it over at a lower rate. Like if you got a credit card that's sitting at 30% and you can't afford to pay it, but they give you a chance to roll it over to another credit card at the same rate or cheaper, what are you going to do? Like, no shit, you're going to do it at the cheaper rate. Like, it's just kind of common sense. But right now, as Jack mentioned, and if you follow any kind of politics, you know that Jerome and Trump are not the best of friends. So the only way to get Jerome to play ball, because the federal banking cartel, remember, they're neither federal nor do they have any reserves. They operate their own little banking cartel conglomerate. They don't have to do anything, but they do have mandates. And the best way to get them to enforce those or bend the knee, so to speak, is to crash the economy, which is exactly what we're seeing happening right now. So let's go to Jack's prediction and then we'll wrap this up and get my final thoughts, basically.
Amazing. And it's obvious. I still think Bitcoin is going to hundreds of thousands of dollars this year. This administration has campaigned on cheaper dollar, fueling growth, currency debasement. They've campaigned on it. I mean, the guy wants to cut taxes. It's all about spend, growth, debase. How long until the market starts to turn and the bull market resumes? like again, what I said, I'll show you the bull run when you show me the liquidity. And that goes for all assets, by the way. The stock market's getting hammered as well. Hammered. So show me the liquidity and I'll show you the bull market. It's up to the financial authorities. It's up to the financial authorities. I mean, like, let me say, like, guys, if the US government and the Federal Reserve never printed another dollar, ran into surplus, and like operated the US like Bitcoin would grow slower. It wouldn't die. It's still better technology. It's still better money, but it wouldn't be as explosive in growth than if, I mean, currency expansion of the currency units of the money supply is around 14% year over year recently. I mean, that's outrageous. So if I had to guess when the bull market resumes, sometime in Q2, but it depends. Like, it depends when these guys have gotten what they wanted. They need cheaper rates to refinance all this shit.
So he said in the other clip that BTC is going to hundreds of thousands of dollars this year, and I believe that as well. We tapped that 110K range, but I believe once this catches up and Trump gets what he wants, the cheaper rates, then everybody gets to basically refinance. So at that stage, yeah, Bitcoin, I believe, takes off like a rocket ship again. Like, I definitely don't think we are in a bear market at all. We are still up from last cycle. So it's just the 30% correction that we've seen before. Well, if you've been here long enough, you've seen before. So I definitely have way more conviction and understanding this time than I did last time, because last time I skipped Bitcoin and the other blue chips and just went straight into YOLO degen mode, and that got me wrecked. So now, holding BTC and understanding how all this plays together, yeah, I'm much more sure of my position and buying the dips, because this will not stay here in this cycle. Yeah, I believe once we break the 150-ish range, you're never going to see a 100K Bitcoin again below 100K, because there's just way too much global adoption, big banks, businesses, Fortune 500 companies, institution level, ETFs, you name it. All these people are throwing in millions and billions. And now that the US has basically showed their chess move of saying what they're going to do and creating legislation to move forward to stack sats and accumulate, the minute that actually takes place, it's off to the races. And you got to also think that they could be doing this, or could do this in secret to some degree. Like, okay, the legislation passes, let's just say, but they're not going to want to expose their hand globally to everyone to get front run. So we don't actually know when we're going to see that. You're just going to start to see the charts rip. And maybe it'll be some kind of announcement of the reevaluation of the gold and things of that nature that would give us a clue. But I don't think they will be publicly telling us which accounts are buying Bitcoin and what days and how much. That would just give everybody a chance to front run them, and then the US would not be able to get the cheap stuff. Hell, it could be happening right now for all we know. Technically wouldn't be able to, because you got to have equal votes on both sides, the House and Senate. But hell if I know if there's ways to get around some of this stuff. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think about Jack's predictions, where he sits. Do you have the same level of conviction? Bullish, bearish, where to from here? Smash that HBO special, help brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.
Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? Spritz Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.